Greetings. This is the notes for Unit 7 on the judicial branch. Let's go ahead and start by making a copy of the document, which hopefully you've opened from Google Classroom or the schedule or the links. Um, when you see it, you'll probably see this hot link, which will be the video. This hot link is the slideshow. You might want to just have that open, like I'm going to have the notes open and the slideshow. All right, step one, make a copy. I'm doing this in front of you, which you should know how to do by now, just to give you time to get it done. Okay. And sometimes I've been writing in the original one and that messes me up. So I'm going to put the one I'm working on way to the right. Try to stop messing up like that. Let's go with John Marshall. Let's call the date. I don't know what the date's going to be. It's going to be April something. Say April 9th. Make the period. Let's do second period today. Let's get rid of this thing. Okay, now we're set up and set to go. I have previously used this 1x2, and I had the slideshow right to the right. So it's already set up for me. All I need to do is minimize, and there it goes. Because I was working on the slideshow earlier. All right, but let's go to the beginning. Okay, so this is the Supreme Court. The big questions on 7.1, the National Judiciary. What can the judicial system of the United States be described? Why can the judicial system be described as a dual system? All right, that could be written better. You see something you write and you want to make it better? Make it better. But then I have to change it. In 3 spots. That's the annoying part. Anyway, I think the main reason is because you have a federal judiciary and then you have a state judiciary. That's the main reason, state and local. What does jurisdiction as well as original jurisdiction and appellate jurisdiction mean? Okay. Jurisdiction means you have the power to hear a case. Original jurisdiction is a reference to original under the Constitution. So yeah, that's what that's about. Let me change this quiz too, just so the wording is all simpatico. So that's basically the details we're going to get to as well. Appellate jurisdiction is the power to oversee any case that the court resolves. Okay, let's go to the second slide. Um, the creation of a national judiciary. Uh, Under the Articles of Confederation, there was no national courts or judiciary. Article 3, Section 1 corrects this and creates a national judiciary. So we're writing in no. And double check that I'm online. Yep, my name's in there. Corrected that with Article 3. Those are Roman numerals. Count Roman numerals I. Just add them up. Once you get to 3, though, you start having to work in the other letters. Okay. Let's go to the next topic. From the Constitution, it's written, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. Doesn't mean they're worse than the Supreme Court. No, it just means uh, the Supreme Court has the final say. It's important to have hierarchy so you understand which decision is going to be the deciding one. Okay, let's go to more national judiciary. It's a dual court system, is what exists in the United States. Does that mean you have a national judiciary and various state and local courts? Most courts are held in court cases, they're state court cases, typically criminal, but and civil state law is at issue. But there's a lot of federal law as well. The Constitution creates the Supreme Court and leaves it in the hands of Congress to create inferior courts, as you just read from Article 3, Section 1. There's two kinds of inferior courts. There's the constitutional ones, and then there's the special ones that Congress has decided is needed. Let's go ahead and go back and underline these. That's a nice thing to do. Control U, Control U, Control U. I wouldn't spend a ton of time doing this, but a little time making sure your work looks good, worth it. Because if your work doesn't look good, you're not going to care about your work enough. So, attentiveness to detail does count, and it gets you in the habit of making sure your work looks right. If it looks right, you'll feel better about it, and you'll care about it more. So, do this, even if it takes an extra step. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this one in detail. All right. So you see at the top there, you have the U.S. Supreme Court. Um, but as the top of the appellate courts, you have the U.S. Court of Appeals, and there's 12 regional ones. I think we're in District 9. There's one U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. I think that's like a 3-judge panel that runs around the country, which hears cases that I think the circuit courts push up. Trial courts, or they pull up. I'm not sure. One of those might go both ways. Anyway, trial courts, federally, you have the U.S. district courts. There's 94 judicial districts and the U.S. bankruptcy courts. We also have the U.S. Court of International Trade, U.S. Court of Federal Claims. But as you see, the most in number are the district courts. But there's other special courts as well. You have military courts. They have trial and appellate level. You have veteran appeals court. You have tax court, and you have administrative agencies and boards. And it depends on the administrative agency how big that's going to be. Let's see if we can make that a skosh bigger for you guys. Yeah, I think that's a little bigger. All right, let's go to the next one. Federal court jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is the authority of a court to, if you hit Control U before you type, it'll underline as you go along. Authority of a court to hear a case. That means they have the authority to try and decide a case. Certain cases require that federal courts have original jurisdiction because they're specifically mentioned in the Constitution. These are ones that involve federal crimes or foreign officials. Those are all in the original jurisdiction of federal courts. Many cases can be tried in either court. What you have there is known as concurrent jurisdiction. Usually, it'll involve citizens from the different states. Could be a state versus another state, a state versus someone, a citizen from out of state, or vice versa. That's the various ways it'll work. Let's go on to slide 6. Original jurisdiction is a court where the case is first heard. Appellate jurisdiction is a court where a decision from a lower court may be upheld, was upheld, overruled, or modified, changed in some form or fashion. They don't have to do any of those things. They'll look at specifics, consider the arguments by the attorneys, and then make a ruling. Supreme Court may have original or appellate jurisdiction depending on the situation. Um, so you just have to look. Here's some court terminology. A plaintiff is the person who files a lawsuit. A defendant is the person who has the lawsuit filed against them. Often defendants make counterclaims. Complaint is synonymous with lawsuit, just another term for it. Go ahead and make it look good. Make sure it's underlined. Doesn't take that long. All right, let's look at this one. I messed around with the background on this because I wanted to make sure you could see it as well as possible. So yeah, so you see how the 9th district controls the west. 10th is like the, I don't know, a little bit of the plains and the mountains. But you got more in the east because that's where they started making them. You got it starts with New England or Maine, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. But this is the various district courts. It looks like they've added one here, the 10th and 11th, because the 9th probably got too big, or the 4th or 5th got too big um, as the populations grew. So these are all numbered for the district courts. Federal judges. Supreme Courts and federal judges from the 95 district courts are chosen by the president and confirmed by the Senate. Uh, Experience and political party affiliation are major items that they consider when they select a federal and Supreme Court justice. You don't call Supreme Court judges; you call them justices. But that's okay. Just judges are usually have one of two philosophies: judicial restraint, but they don't. I don't know if it's as clear cut as that. They just have a leaning. Some consider judicial restraint based on the Constitution or precedent, leave lawmaking to the legislature. The other ones are characterized as judicial activists, um, where they interpret laws based on current changes, such as civil rights, and the judges are acting more boldly and they're trying to fit modern times. Let's go ahead and write in the notes. I have 94 district courts. Chosen by these. Okay, why does it matter so much? These are lifetime appointments for the federal and Supreme Court justices, so they'll be there a long time. It's a really good gig too, so they're highly coveted. Somebody wants to make me a judge. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that tomorrow. But no one's asking me, so whatever. I do it. I can do it. All right, judicial restraint. And activism. That's sometimes a little annoying to work on the underlining, but at the end of the day, it'll look good like that. That's what you want. So it's worth it. Okay. Raise your hand and tell me what you think the message is of this cartoon. If need be, discuss it with your neighbor first. Go. Oh, first person is going to get more points. Thank you. Okay, hopefully you said the message of the cartoon is the judiciary, if they're too active, they can destroy the will of the legislature and the executive. So judicial activism should not be encouraged. That's the point. People are not a fan. Judges from the Constitutional Court, Supreme, District, Appellate, Trade, they're appointed for life. That's why they're such a big deal. That's why whenever they come up for nomination, people care because someone lives another 20, 30, 40 years, they could be on the court and have a major impact on decisions for multiple generations. It takes impeachment to remove, which doesn't happen that often. Why do they give them appointments for life? To promote independence and let them try to make whatever honest and fair judgment they could. There's also 15-year terms for special court judges, which is a lot longer than normal. Congress sets the salaries for all these judges. And other court officers include magistrates, bankruptcy judges, U.S. attorneys, and U.S. marshals. You need to make sure they pay them well enough that they convince them to leave private practice, where they'll probably make more money. Um, so yeah, that's why they need a decent salary for these court positions. All right, let's go ahead and write these notes in. As you see, the Supreme Court makes almost a quarter of a million, and the appellate judge courts over 200, and district courts around $200,000. So that's pretty good living. So let's write that in. Remember, it's a lifetime appointment though. So once you get that job, you're getting that job forever as long as you don't, commit a crime. And the reason, independence. I think you can do pretty well on $244,000. Right. So the quiz. The U.S. judicial system can be described as a dual system because you have both federal and state courts. Jurisdiction is the right to try and decide a case. Original jurisdiction means the right to try and decide a case comes from the Constitution. Appellate jurisdiction is inferred as the Supreme Court is hierarchical, and so it's anywhere someone could take their court up case above for review from a lower court ruling. Go ahead and get that written up, and we'll continue on the next one in a, on the next video. That concludes video for 7.1.